The world needs love. We can all agree on that. But why is it sometimes so confusing? Why is it something that we don't talk about more? We're going to explore that, and we're going to try to find a way to get through whatever we feel about it. Love is strong affection for another, rising out of kinship or personal ties. Now, that's a dictionary definition, but personally, I feel like it's kind of off, because it says strong affection for another. But so much of the love that we need comes from ourselves, and it has to be given to ourselves. So a definition that says it's for another, I don't know about that. And then it says that it can only come through personal ties or kinship. And I don't think that's true about love either, right? So what is love? This idea that love is something that we're born with, and that fear is what we learn. That twists and morphs love, and the way that we guard our heart, we close ourselves off, isn't actually what's natural to us. Like, love is natural. Love is naturally there. Like, we could see love right there between Mama Phoenix and, adorable baby. That baby is all love, right? How do we avoid this fear that we learn? Why does our society teach us to fear love? Some people, that's the scariest thing, is to love somebody else. Or the scariest thing could be to receive love. Oh my goodness. So the Greeks had a lot of different words. They didn't just use the word love. And maybe that would help us because we get a little bit confused about what love is. They had a sexual passion love called eros. They had one called philia, which is a friendship, a deep friendship love. They had ludus, which is a playful love, very casual, very much being in the present and not caring what happens later. You got agape, which is love for everyone. It's like a universal, unconditional love for all of existence. I feel like some of us may have experienced that when on psychedelics. We got pragma, which is a long-standing love. It's like a mature love where maybe that butterflies and that excitement's gone, but you understand each other, and then it's like a lot of duty. Sacrifices for the other person. Philautia is the love of self. That's super important. And then we have Meraki, which is the love of creative endeavors. We got all kinds of different forms of love. So we're going to kind of just flow on that.
The most powerful times and the only times I truly understand are when unconditional love comes through. And it's the most beautiful experience to love somebody else without any need for attachment, without any need for it to mean anything except for it just means that you're coming deeper in love. And it's like these moments whenever it's like the world stands still and you're just in this bubble and you just feel this most amazing bliss, and you don't need any psychedelics necessarily to make it to this point, but believe me, I've been through the ebbs and the flows to get to those points where you have those moments of unconditional love. Those moments sometimes they're scary because it's not like you're quite in the world, you're like kind of in another world, in that unconditional love space. Looking back on it, you're like, damn, that was amazing. Damn, that was beautiful. And there's some moments that I have sometimes where I realized, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be with you, but this moment is deeply healing me. This moment is leading me closer to my man, and I love you. Like, I actually love you. And to be able to tell somebody that you love them and mean it, even though you've just been with them for a day or two, oh my gosh, like, so amazing. And in those moments, I'm like, does anybody else get this? Does anybody else understand this? And it's even more beautiful that you're like, I'm sure the majority of people would not understand this relationship. In fact, many people have told me, you should just leave this guy. Like, you should never see him again after what he did. And I was like, no, my intuition says I need to have a talk about this. And then you can unravel it and you can really come into this deeper love. I just had a conversation before this started, and it was really disturbing to me. But at the same time, I'm like, if we didn't have that conversation, there would be this resentment that would keep building and building and building. So perhaps by having a tough conversation, I can understand deeper what the issue is, and I can make little adjustments, and perhaps later on we'll feel that unconditional love. I don't necessarily feel that bliss bubble now, but perhaps sometimes marching through those harder times leads us to those bliss, beautiful moments. And there's times when I feel judgment coming towards me, and I feel sometimes I judge others as well. But that's like the human. But then when you come back to the core, the authentic self, that's when you're just like, oh my gosh, I love all of you. Like, thank you. Like, thank you for your expression in life. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for rallying for me. And then when I'm filled up, then that's when I can rally and give other people that love and attention. And it's just this like beautiful give and take, this like reciprocity. And sometimes you give to somebody and you'll never receive from that person, but you'll receive from someone else. And I think when you can understand that, that's when you can let go of the resentment and the hardship. And you know when you've given enough and whenever you need to replenish yourself. I think that's what love is. So I think I had this question when I started this prompt. If you're not in alignment, then how can you access love? But I think it's by expressing yourself, because in expressing myself about this, I feel more in alignment, which was my intention. I feel closer to unconditional love by expressing myself. I'm definitely on a quest to find that ultimate unconditional love, to where I can exist in that more and more and more and more and more, because it's a beautiful state to be in. And sometimes I don't understand, like, why aren't we all there yet? But I think there's beauty in telling your story. There's beauty in that pain. There's beauty in that, like, coming into unconditional love. We're on a continual journey to just fall deeper, 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 deeper into love, because those beautiful surprises are all worth it. I think that's my goal, is to tell stories that help people understand and come into and remind them about love.
Mama Phoenix, I known you from this FlowFam space and life for a few cycles of the sun now, and I want to acknowledge in you the ever renewing courage that you have about being real with your own spiritual awareness, which is so central to who you are as I know you. And I see that love, as you bring it in this world, is uncompromising in the commitment to be real, to be true, and to go into uncomfortable places and forge ahead. I see that this like protective, fiery mama bear is present, and that's a good thing for the people around you, because you care. As I listen to this beat, I'm aware of the word love, the vibration of love. I've always been, since childhood, deeply connected to the music of the Beatles, and the anthem that they created was "All you need is love. Love is all you need." And as I explored different sources in my journey, I became aware of this idea of ciphering, that words have sounds and have like clouds of meaning, or you can sort of decipher into words and mythology and language. And so what I learned from all of this was that the word love is related to the word Jove, which is Jupiter. And so it's this very big energy. So when the Beatles sing like "all you need is love," in some level they're paying homage to this like huge energy in the solar system of Jupiter, of the Zeus or the king energy. Of course, love is also Venus, which is this second planet from the sun, which is beauty. It's Aphrodite. It's the divine feminine. It touches into the erotic, to the sensual, to the idea of nurture and care. Love for me is so much. Even I think in a Martin Luther King speech, he talked about 3 of those Greek roots of love that you talked about, Infinite Chi. Love is eros, of course, the erotic. It's also the philios, the love that we have for our brothers and sisters. Like the name of my mom's hometown, my grandparents' hometown, is Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. And then love is the agape. It's this transcendent It's a spiritual. So really, at the end of the day, love for me is everything. Everything is literally within the space of love. Love is actually the source and the creator and the will and everything and anything in this universe that I can have or can experience. Any place we can go is within the scope of love. That's how broad love is. The archetypes of romantic love, as we have been conditioned to experience them in culture through all these sappy movies that were bombarded, the rom-coms and all that nonsense, there is this like toxicity and stupidity to the energy of love, which can be frustrating, angering. I'm not in this place now, but I certainly was in a place previously toward anger and resentment towards the depictions of romantic love and the cliches and all of that. What I've been experiencing most recently in my life, which is very joyful, is that love is akin to real life and the transcendent, sacred, and divine. And that my capacity to love you and me and those around and my experience of life is based on my ability to receive and to love the fact that I'm even alive, to love that I'm here. There's a particular preacher at a church that I like to go to, and when he preaches, he refers to everyone in the congregation in the audience as beloved. I'm taking that on as a miraculous way of being, where I could imagine that everyone is my beloved, and that the universe itself has that relationship to me, that I am the beloved of a all-powerful creative energy, and that you Chi right there are my beloved, and Mama Phoenix and her baby child is my beloved, and Tina is my beloved, and Flomar is my beloved, and as is these worms and bugs in the dirt over here, and these random people in this city who are in this coffee shop or driving by. It's uncomfortable and it's challenging, and it really takes me to the edge of being a much more alive and joyful person and more humble, because it really blows away my whole ego and my whole barrier and my pretense of I can figure it all out on my own and I'm separate from all of you and go screw yourselves, I don't want to talk to you. It's something powerful, and I'm learning that it's echoing so much what I was getting from you, Flomar, is that it's so important for me to pay attention, to care as much about myself as I do about others, and to pay attention to what it really takes to slow down and to take real good care of myself. Love is an invitation to go to a very, very deep place. I need to give myself a lot of sanctuary in order to be committed for friends that I love, for people that I'm committed to. That's what I've been learning about love. That's what I wanted to say, beloveds.
Mr. Flowtastic has a lot of love in his heart. And you're right, when you're filled up, that's whenever you really shine, and like you're really able to like really give so much love, so much healing.
It's as if like you took me through all three movies of Lord of the Rings. I see that you have went through transitions, obstacles, hurdles, and all blessings to where you see everything as precious, aka your dearly beloveds, in any way, shape, or form. So it's like, yeah, it's like really being complete with everything. It's really awesome. That's what I think of for sure.
As they say in Lord of the Rings, my precious.
Love is everything. I think it's the essence of life. I think it's the essence of the universe. When you look inside every atom and you see that electron spinning around, what is that energy in it? I think that's love. And I do believe that the universe, for all of its yin and yang, the balance of the light and the dark, the positive and the negative, the pain and the rapture, does spiral up slightly. It has just a slight positive uptick to it. And I think that's what love is. I think love is what tips the scale from being a perfect balance where the good and the bad are exactly equal to making it so that the universe is something that I'd like to have more trust in. And that trust starts with love because it's the one thing that tips the scale and gives me faith that things are getting better, that we're headed in the right direction, no matter how much my heart might be broken, especially right now. I'm in the state of the most tenderness I've ever felt, of opening myself back up to my emotions and then having myself crushed again after protecting myself for so long. And I'm glad. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad that I spoke my truth, that I loved unconditionally, that I shared that love openly without any expectation, that I was authentic and truthful about that expression of that love, even if it led to what seems to be negative outcomes right now. I think love is about understanding that it's not about trying to control something or to change something, but to understand it. When you really love somebody, when you love a craft, even, I love painting, right? You want to understand it. You want to understand the ins and out of it. It's like treating that person like a book, and you just want to read every single page, right? You want to read the parts that are painful and heartbreaking. You want to read the parts that are hilarious. You want to read the parts that are weird. You want to read everything. It's all about understanding. And then in that understanding is radical acceptance, not just acceptance, but appreciation, compassion. It's just love, it's the highest esteem for all the imperfections along with the perfections. And that's where that paradox comes in. Love is the most heartbreaking thing on the planet. It's what makes you want to die, but it also is what makes you want to live. I think hope is love, right? I think hope is love. And I think despair is love too, because it's always that you're afraid you're going to lose the love, the warmth of that fire, that light of that person, or whatever it is that you love. All the terrible things that happen in the world, they come from love too. They come from pain. If we were really ambivalent, if we didn't love people, then it wouldn't come out that way. But it's morphed. It's morphed by generational pain. It's morphed by social conditioning. It's morphed by the fact that we have different perceptions of everything. So it's misunderstood. But yeah, I grew up in a situation where I felt so much love. I think I had like the best mom ever. I don't have any real grievances about my upbringing except for the ones caused by death. Her death, my grandfather's death, all this death that caused me to lose faith in God and close myself off to my emotions so that I didn't cry a single tear for over 20 years. In that protecting, maybe I didn't fully receive love. And then now that I've opened myself back up to my emotions, I feel like I'm a channel directly to source or God or love, whatever you want to call it, because it's all the same thing, the essence of the universe, the essence of universal consciousness, the essence of each one of us. Now I feel like because I've worked through trauma, I really am a clean slate in a way that's very rare. Like I don't carry generational pain, I don't carry social conditioning anymore. And that allows me to be this pure channel to love. And now I'm just taking it in. And I have so much love for everything around me. I call it magic. Like I can see magic in the world in places that other people can't. I can see ways to love things that other people can't. And I'm so conditioned from the way that my love, whenever I've expressed it to the most important people in my life, has pushed them away. The way that growing up in an Asian household, like I don't say I love you to my sisters. That's weird. I don't think I've ever hugged my sisters. That's weird, right? Like I never initiated a hug until after I went to Burning Man. And then I really realized that's the social norm. People aren't going to think you're weird if you hug them. It's funny because I have such a high esteem of love in my own head, but I have such a low thought of love when it's shared. So now that I'm this channel for love in the universe, and it just keeps absorbing, like I'm just overflowing with love. It's just the path that the universe put me through. It's all the suffering and the struggle that enabled me to have access to this truly unconditional, unselfish, pure love. And it just keeps filling me up. I can't stop it. And it's so, so incredibly painful because I don't feel comfortable sharing it with other people. I don't feel comfortable telling people I love them, even when I do. I don't feel comfortable doing gestures for love the way that I want to. And I think maybe that's part of why I'm holding back not creating my teaching business, because there's so much love behind it. And I'm scared to share that love. There's so much that I want to say, so many ways that I want to appreciate all the people around me. And even when I come across a random person on the street, like I'm afraid that if I'm kind to them, they're going to respond in a negative way because I know their lens is different. So my expression is going to be filtered through their lens, which is going to warp it into something else, which already happened to the person I thought understood me the best. You know, she still didn't understand me well enough and warped my sense of love for her into something that it wasn't. And my ex that I was with for 12 years, she warped everything. So all of these negative experiences of me loving in this very pure form ever since I was a kid, the first memory I have was being 2 years old in preschool, and there was this girl who was crying because her shoes were untied. I went over there. I didn't know how to tie shoes, but I tried to tie her shoes for her. And we had this substitute teacher that day and saw me over there messing with her shoes and that she was crying, and she put me on timeout. And that's basically a metaphor for the way my love has been received my entire life. It's always been misunderstood, rejected, chastised, scolded. So now I'm just overflowing with this love that has nowhere to go except to myself. I already feel like I've fulfilled my self-love to the highest point, like these last couple years especially. I'm just doing stuff for me. Like I'm just doing the hip hop I love. I'm just doing all this stuff that I love. And I'm so full of self-love that if I feel myself anymore, I'm going to become arrogant and an asshole. Like I think like can't go any further. And what happens to love when it has nowhere to go? I think it festers and it rots. I think it's meant to keep moving like water. You know, love is like water. If it's stagnant in a pool, then all this bacteria and shit grows in it. Mosquitoes grow there. All this terrible shit happens. And that's why love with nowhere to go is grief. And that's all I have. I'm like a vessel of grief because I'm absorbing more love and it's going nowhere. And it just comes out of my eyes and it's really painful. And I got to find a way to be able to put more of my love into the world without thinking it's going to destroy everything. That's how I feel about my love. And it's funny because like Hindu gods and goddesses, you got Shiva, right? And Shiva is this beloved deity and is about destroyers. And that's kind of like one element of what my love is. My love is a destroyer. It destroyed and pushed away all the people I hold dearest. But at the same time, it's the healer, it's the creator. And in order for me to change the world, to change lives the way that I want to, I need to be able to understand that paradox and put my love into the world in a positive way to show people that love and not be afraid that it's going to push them away or destroy my life. And that's hard for me to do.